Good morning to you and welcome to the front page review right here on Morning Ride, Voice of the People, 96.1 FM. My name is Gesire Agua. Good morning to you once again and welcome to the show. This is a platform basically where we review all the headlines, check out all the top trending stories, see how they affect you as Nigerians, see how all the headlines affect you as Nigeria and as Nigerians. So welcome once again to the show. The president officially is on his way to attend the G20 summit in India. If you know, the G20 is a group of 20 is an intergovernmental forum comprising of 19 countries and the European Union. Basically, they work to address major issues that are related to global economy, like international financial stability, climate change mitigations, sustainable development, and the likes. Australia, Canada, Brazil, Argentina, China, Germany, France, UK, US, Turkey, European Union, Indonesia, South Africa, and a couple of other countries are part of the G20. Now, India is a founding member of the G20. So seeing as Nigeria is not a member of the G20, some Nigerians are questioning why exactly the president is going for a summit to which Nigeria isn't a part of. But yesterday, I was watching an interview with the spokesperson of the president, Ajuri Ngelale, talking about what Nigeria stands to benefit from a summit in G20 because he was invited by the host country. And, when you talk about things like this, you're beginning to wonder what exactly the president has got cooking up his sleeves. You're wondering what exactly, when the father of a country leaves the country, Nigerians are expecting oyoyo. Welcome back. Nigerians are expecting something, from that particular person. So we're hoping that there will be talks. There are talks of CEOs that are going with the president for that particular summit to see how it could be a lucrative venture for Nigeria as a whole. So seeing as that is something that Nigerians to look forward to, let's wait and see what exactly would come out of such a summit to which Nigeria has been invited. The Nigerian president has been invited. Please note that at exactly 7:30, we'll be joined by our guest analyst. At this point, is not a guest anymore, El-Rufai Oseni, to do justice to the headlines. All right. In the president's absence, the Presidential Election Petition Court will release their ruling tomorrow, Wednesday. So yesterday, while talking with Ajuri Ngelale, he said that the president isn't worried about the outcome of that particular petition tribunal. He's not worried. So one would wonder what exactly is boosting the president's confidence. What's in the give chest to withstand all that. But let's jump on our headlines this morning. Judiciary shouldn't determine election winners, says Bode George. He's been very, very outspoken about the election tribunal. He says judiciary shouldn't determine election winners. Former deputy national chairman of the PDP, Chief Bode George, has raised concerns over the role of the judiciary in determining election winners in Nigeria. This is as he advised the judiciary against taking away the right of the people to determine poll winners. He raised the concern at a press briefing held in his office in Ikoyi on Monday, following the announcement by the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal in Abuja that it would deliver its judgment on Wednesday. The tribunal, in a statement on Monday, announced it would on Wednesday deliver judgment on the petitions challenging the declaration of Bola Tinubu as the winner of the 2023 presidential elections by INEC. But speaking at the briefing, George questioned why the judiciary had been making pronouncements to determine election winners rather than order INEC to reconduct the elections to aid the emergence of a real winner. So he said, our country has been doing very little positively and very much negatively. In the last few days, I have been thinking as a former military officer and as a civilian since I have served 5 presidents. Our electoral process is shambolic, nonsensical, and makes the country nosedive. It is the manipulation of the system. A glitch on the day of the election is unforgivable, but the INEC chairman told us they were ready. But with what happened, generations to come will never forgive him. The most contentious issue in Nigeria today is the judiciary. It is one of the pillars of government. Is it right for the judiciary to tell us who won or who lost the elections? What we understand by democracy is government of the people, by the people, and for the people. But in our own case, it shouldn't be government of the judiciary, by the judiciary, and for the judiciary. Is that democratic? It is the will of the people that should prevail. If you discover any wrong, ask them to go to court and conduct a fresh election, even if it takes 100 times. The job of the judiciary is not to tell us who lost or who won. A lot of people have been making this particular statement, talking about the fact that, based on the constitution, you are just supposed to take your case to court. If you have any reason to contest the elections, the result of any elections, as far as they're within the shores of Nigeria, you should take your case to court. But seeing as we've seen a lot of issues that have emanated from court proclamations, look at some cases in the East where a particular governor wasn't the choice of the state. He wasn't first in the elections, he wasn't second in the elections, he wasn't third, he was fourth in the elections, and then the court proclaimed him the winner of the elections. So seeing as that particular situation caused a bit of unrest in that state, even till now, one would wonder the sense in having the judiciary decide who won or who lost the elections, seeing as sometimes evidences can be manipulated in one way or the other. So why can't the judiciary say, you know what, since these are the issues presented before us, let's take it back to the polls. Let's go back to the polls. Let's let Nigerians decide once again, even though that in this moment might be a bit hazardous, looking at the current transportational realities of Nigeria, looking at the full situation, looking at the livelihood of Nigerians, well-meaning Nigerians. Will they even want to go back to their different polling units and re-vote? You'll be wondering what exactly is the sense in all of this. And during the announcement tomorrow, the president won't be around, and we're hearing that he is not bothered about the proclamation of that particular result. Anyway, we're live on YouTube at VOP 96.1. VOP 961. Just search that on YouTube and follow us live right here on YouTube, VOP 961. The number to call to join the conversation, by the way, is 0700 010 961 961. 0700 010 961 961. It's not a fake number, it's not a wrong number. Type is as I'm saying it, 0700 010 961 961. Moving on to the next headline this morning. This is good news for Nigeria. 40 years after Buhari's suspension, Lagos Light Rail begins operations. 40 years after Buhari's suspension, Lagos Light Rail begins operation. The Lagos Rail Mass Transit Blue Line system has finally begun its long-awaited commercial operations 40 years after the idea for a metro line for the state was conceived. The Lagos State Governor, Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu, became the first passenger to ride on the train during its inaugural trip as operations began on Monday. The governor boarded the train from the Marina Terminal en route Mile 2 and took a return trip from Mile 2 back to the Marina. The managing director of Lagos Metropolitan Area Transport Authority, Mrs. Abimbola Kiajo, had announced on Thursday that the Lagos Blue Line Rail would commence commercial operations on Monday, September 4th. Mrs. Abimbola added that Sanwo-Olu would be the first passenger during the inaugural ride on the train. The idea of a metro line for Lagos State dates back to 1983, during the administration of the late Alhaji Lateef Jakonde. Jakonde, who was the first civilian governor of the state, conceived and initiated the vision of a light rail in the state in 1983, with a target delivery date of 1986. Now, as at the time of the conception of this particular idea, had all the paperwork had been done, the contractors were ready to be mobilized to the site, and the project had yet to begin. However, when the military coup led by General Muhammadu Buhari took place, the project was discontinued at the time. The rail network project was, reinaugurated in 2003 by Bola Tinubu, 20 years after it was initially conceived. At its inauguration, the large rail project was color-coded, in different phases. There's the blue line, which is from Marina to Mile 2. There is the red line, which is from Agbado to Marina. There's a purple line from Redeemed to Ojo. There's the yellow line, Ota to Ido. There's the brown line, Mile 12 to Marina. There's the orange line, Redeemed to the Marina. And there's the green line, the Marina to Lekki. We're starting with the first phase, which is the blue line, Marina to Mile 2. The construction of the 27-kilometer blue line rail started during the administration of the former governor, Babatunde Fashola. You can see that government is a continuum. That particular project wasn't abandoned just because it wasn't the idea of Babajide Sanwo-Olu. It wasn't discontinued or it wasn't abandoned. So when we see this is what we see when we have government that is continued consistently. Over the years, we've seen projects that have been started by one particular administration and abandoned by the next. Projects that were good. The ideas for those projects were really, really good. We had really good ideas for some projects, especially during the Jonathan administration. There were so many projects that were started and discontinued by the next administration solely because, because of politics, because of party politics that we play in Nigeria. Does it make any sense to start a project and because it's not your party, you didn't have the idea, you now discontinue it? When the glory would have come to you for finishing that particular project. It would have come to you. Look at Jonathan wanted to remove subsidy, right? We had the Occupy Nigeria. A lot of people were shouting here and there saying no. And now look at it. How many years after the president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has the glory for removing subsidy? So one begins to wonder when exactly our governors and our politicians will take governance seriously. When exactly will they take governance seriously? That is a question that has to be answered, is a rhetoric question that has to be answered by different politicians all around Nigeria. Moving on to the next headline this morning, road users shun pedestrian bridges, dare speeding vehicles. Road users shun pedestrian bridges and dare speeding vehicles. Many residents of Lagos and Ogun states are daily putting their lives in danger as they shun pedestrian bridges that were erected in strategic places and decide to run across the highways, daring speeding vehicles based on investigations. Newsmen who visited Palm Grove bus stop, end of the Ikorodu Road in Lagos, and the Mowe as well as Ibafo areas of Lagos-Ibadan Expressway reported that the situation was the same. Some pedestrians identified as Adewumi, who was seen crossing the ever-busy highway at Palm Grove, said, I use the bridge often, especially when the road is busy, but when I'm in a haste or I see that the road is not so busy, I just cross because it is less stressful than climbing the bridge. Another pedestrian identified as Stockware said, I know it is dangerous, but what can I do? It is difficult to climb the bridge. I feel weak and stressed whenever I do so. It strains my legs. Maybe we should put a fine on Nigerians who are seen crossing the highway, because you're putting yourself and the life of the driver at risk. Does it make any sense that the government would invest so much money in constructing pedestrian bridges and you refuse to use it solely because you are not fit? Maybe Nigerians should actually be doing something about their fitness, because you complaining about your weakness and your stress levels has nothing to do with the pedestrian bridge, has nothing to do with the safety of passengers in vehicles that are plowing those routes. has nothing to do with it. Maybe the government should look into that. Maybe the road safety should actually look into that. Instead of attacking Nigerians on the road, instead of dragging Nigerians, well-meaning Nigerians that have their papers, that have all the documents, that have every single thing. The other day, I was stopped by a road safety officer asking me for what's it called? Asking me for first aid kit. First aid kit in my vehicle. First aid kit. And this individual went ahead to he went ahead to start, Madam Alpha, we go lock your car up, we will seize your car, we will impound your vehicle. I changed it for him because I know my rights as a Nigerian. I know my rights as somebody who owns a vehicle in Nigeria. I know my rights. I know the documents you can ask me for and what you can't ask me for. So instead of the road safety to be putting their efforts into harassing well-meaning Nigerians on the road, maybe they should do something about Nigerians who are crossing the pedestrian bridge. Look at Abuja. This area 1 to area 1 roundabout to, I don't know how to describe that area 3 bridge, that pedestrian bridge at area 3. Nigerians blatantly disregard that particular pedestrian bridge and proceed to cross that road. Even with all the barricades that have been put there, they find ways to plow that route. And you begin to wonder, who exactly are you doing? Is it not yourself? Because I don't know if me as a driver, I will stop if I hit anybody. I'm not sure. Because it might lead to another, case. I'm not sure if me as a Nigerian will stop and check on that Nigerian that decided to cross the road instead of following the pedestrian bridge. Maybe also the government should also look at having a ramp as an alternative as well. By ramp, I mean not the staircase, a ramp, so that people with bikes can actually use the ramp instead of stopping and finding ways around the pedestrian bridge. Maybe there should be ramps. There are a couple of them in Abuja and Lagos that have the ramps and the staircases. Maybe they should invest more in putting the ramps in different places so that people can actually use their bicycles, their tricycles now? Yes, their bikes and their tricycles and their bicycles on those bridges instead of walking, as the case may be. Moving on to another headline here. In a case of coups, Guinea-Bissau president has beefed up his own security. Guinea-Bissau president has beefed up his own security. President Umaro Sissoko Embalo has appointed 2 new officials to protect his security, who took up their duties on Monday, with the head of state alluding to coup d'etat elsewhere in Africa. The security appointments were made shortly after coups in Niger and Gabon, both carried out by the security officials of the government. General Thomas Jassy was named as head of presidential security, while General Horta Inta was appointed as chief of staff to the president on Friday. These 2 positions have long existed in the government's organizational structure but have not been filled for several decades. Now, these 2 individuals were sworn in on Monday during a ceremony at the presidential palace, according to AFP journalists. Now, if you recall, there was an attempt to overthrow Embalo, the president of Guinea-Bissau, last year, February, because of this whole issue of coup d'etats everywhere. I'm sure he's scared for himself. But there's a lot of issues that are affecting Nigerians, affecting the world, affecting Africa as a whole, as regards leadership. I think Africa is at a point where they are at a brink. They want good governance. A lot of people want good governance because they see that Africa is a continent filled with a lot of resources, whether it's natural resources, whether it's human resources, whatever the case may be. Africa is filled with a lot, yet we aren't seeing any growth as to being world powers, as to contend with other countries around the world. So right now we're seeing coup d'etats popping their heads everywhere in Africa, and I'm sure some of the presidents are a bit scared as to what exactly their own situation might be. But hey, let's go pay some bills. When we come back, we will be talking with El-Rufai Oseni, who will help us do justice to some of these headlines. Keep it locked.
Bide Inakwana.
Good morning.
Ilahiala.
Ekaro.
Obohia.
Good morning.
Mewo.
Edio.
Haydale.
Good morning. Are you traveling to Lagos and desire a perfect getaway?
Look no further than the luxurious accommodations at Airport Golden Tulip Hotel, number 42 Murtala Mohammed International Road, Lagos.
Relax and unwind in our beautiful appointed rooms, featuring all the amenities you need for a comfortable stay.
Now, whether you are traveling for business or pleasure, our attentive staff is here to ensure that your every need is met. We also offer complimentary pickup and drop from the Lagos airport.
Why not take advantage of our state-of-the-art fitness center, outdoor pool, and enjoy a delicious meal at our on-site restaurant?
With stunning views, world-class service, and a prime location, Airport Golden Tulip Hotel is the perfect choice for your next vacation or business trip.
So why wait? Book your stay today and experience the ultimate in comfort and luxury at Airport Golden Tulip Hotel.
For bookings and reservations, please call 0815-8003-333 or 0815-7003-333. You can visit our website at airportgoldentuliphotel.com.
Airport Golden Tulip Hotel, where luxury meets comfort.
Believe me.
Are you aware that Iruka Online Limited installed and designed a 100,000 capacity church building? Oh yeah, we are the sole distributors of global leading brands all over the world, such as Wafday Line Array, speakers and digital amplifiers, Preseno's digital mixers and studio equipment, Coswell workstations and keyboards, Fender guitars, Mapex drums, Ashdown bass combos, just to mention but a few. We offer flexible payment plan handled by our financial department with 24/7 customer care support system. You can visit our website on www.iruka.com to avoid buying fake products. You can also visit our showroom at number 36 Lagos International Airport Road beside Golden Tulip Hotel. Iruka, never settle for less. The award-winning pizza in the US is now here in Nigeria. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Romeo, the pizza champions, and Coldberry ice cream.
Tonight in every school.
Visit any of our outlets and feel the rich taste from the pizza champions and Coldberry ice cream.
At number 4, Obomosho Street.
Area 8, Geriki, Abuja, or 3rd Avenue, Gwarinpa, Abuja, or Federal Housing Estate, Phase 2, Lube, Abuja. Call 0908-831-5906 or 0908-831-5908 or 0909-238-9861. Check us out on Instagram and Twitter at romeospizza.ng.
Website
www.romeospizza.ng. Romeo, the pizza champions.
Serving you hot and fresh content on radio, and you have been loving it. Now we're taking it further. Catch us live on YouTube at BOP TV for all the juicy content you can't resist. Talk shows, exclusive interviews, news, lifestyle, and more. It's all about you. BOP TV, show up, speak up.
People, can I have your attention, please? You say, tell us the news. And now, here it is.
Voice of the People, 96.1 FM.
Now,
you have a voice.
Doing is hard.
Front page review.
Front Page Review gives you the story beyond the headlines, the news from every angle.
Now let's start the review with this day. The lead story, bury zoning and bury Nigeria.
The story on top of the lead, terror threats. Sanwo-Olu summons emergency security meeting. Last but not the least is the story on the window. At 70, Buhari extols Daisy Danjuma's years of service.
Join the Front Page Review at 7 a.m. every weekday on VOP 96.1 FM.
The elections tomorrow, just how that would affect Nigerians as a whole. Still looking at tribunal, the president isn't worried, believes in integrity of judiciary. This is according to the presidency. Tinubu not worried, believes in integrity of judiciary, says the presidency, ahead of Wednesday's judgment to be delivered by the Presidential Election Petition Court, PEPC. The presidency has revealed that the president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is not worried because he knows he won the 2023 elections. Speaking on Channels Television on Monday, presidential spokesperson Ajuri Ngelale said that Tinubu believes in the sanctity and integrity of the judiciary, hence sees no need to raise speculations ahead of Wednesday's judgment. Recall that Tinubu's elections is being challenged by Peter Obi of the Labour Party, Atiku Abubakar of the People's Democratic Party, as well as the Allied People's Movement, APM. Earlier on Monday, the Registrar of the Court of Appeal, Umar Bangari, said the tribunal will deliver its judgment on the cases before it, challenging the victory of Tinubu, the then candidate of the All Progressives Congress, in the February 25th, 2023 polls. He, Tinubu, is not worried simply because he knows he won the elections. The president sees no need to threaten judicial officers. He sees no need to raise speculations against the integrity of judicial officers. He believes in the sanctity and integrity of the Nigerian judicial system. He believes the great men and women on the panel will make their decision based only on the facts before them. He will continue to ensure that no matter what the outcome of the judgment is, he does his part and ensures that our institutions continue to be respected, not just by him, but all actors, Ngelale said. Meanwhile, Ngelale debunked rumors that the federal government has joined BRICS and the G20 has been widely spread on social media. Good morning, Mr. Rufai.
Morning, Gussie. Thanks for standing in. Thank you so much. Thanks for all your good work.
Thank you.
Talk to me, Gussie.
All right. So first of all, we're starting with the president in New Delhi, the G20 summit. Even though Nigeria isn't a part of the G20, what exactly do you have to say about this? What do Nigerians expect of the president, in that particular summit?
I mean, we're going there. We're not part of the G20 first. We're going there, to be able to make due associations. We've taken our business entourage there. There's another summit going on the sideline of the 20, which is called the B20 business, sort of like an interrelationship between Nigeria and Indian businessmen. And let's see how trade can come. The most important thing about this summit is what is the need for your country? How can you sign deals to be able to ramp up the revenue of your country? And these are the biggest challenges we face as we speak today in Nigeria. We have a big revenue problem, guess. We can't run away from that. Only recently, the half-year reports for revenue came out, and it showed that Nigeria just has collected about 4.6 trillion in revenue. But guess what? Out of that 4.6 trillion, we spent over 6 billion. We spent 6 billion. We spent 4 trillion of that money, or 4.6 trillion. We spent 4 trillion on servicing our debts. We have a humongous debt still today. President Buhari has not been able to tell us what he did with all the money he collected in printed, a proper mismanagement of the economy. Emir Sanusi Lamido has talked ad nauseum about that. Obasanjo has talked ad nauseum about that. A lot of wasteful spending in the last administration. So we've not been able to account for all of that. And now, hope deals on, G20.
Hello? Okay, we have some network issues right there. Try communicating with Mr. Rufai once again. try to reconnect. But we're still looking at this G20 and what Nigeria stands to gain. We're talking a little bit about some of the biggest businesses, especially within Asia. Talking about some of the biggest businessmen will be.
You see, and that's why the Nigeria shouting all eyes on the judiciary. And a lot of people feel blackmailed by that. Nobody's blackmailing them. People are just saying that the judge on trial himself, a judge on sitting on the trial is on trial himself. And the judiciary must do, right by the law, which is most important. So we're going to see how they interpret it. But anything, heads or tails, that come out tomorrow as regards the process, hopefully we should be able to take it live. Another media house will take it live. It will be dependent on what the dramatics personnel now say they want to do. Do they want to say they want to go further in court and head up to the Supreme Court, or leave it like that and look forward to the next election? Time will tell. So let's just all fingers crossed. Let's look at it and see how all of it pans out.
Okay. Bode George has come out to say that the judiciary shouldn't be the ones to determine election winners. I mean, a lot of people have been saying this, seeing what happened in the East, where a governor who was fourth in the elections came out, because of the court case, came out as the winner of an election, and we saw how that played out. So, looking at that, Bode George is saying that the judiciary shouldn't necessarily determine election winners. They should just say, okay, let's go back to the polls once again. What's your take on that?
Makes a lot of sense. We've always said it. Once the judiciary starts to determine election winners, there's not a democracy, it's not the government of the people. It's a government of the judiciary. It's showcracy. And that's what happens in our lives. People know that the election process, they can go out there and based on all sorts of technicalities, they'll get a judgment in court and they'll be put in there. So these are the things we keep talking about. But why is it that we can't even determine who becomes winner in free and fair election? Because there are no systems in place to check electoral bandits. Let me use that word. And our politicians have become electoral bandits. At the polling units, it depends on how much you can stuff ballot boxes, how much you can kill, how much you can do all sorts of nefarious things to get your way. And that's not good for our democracy. So in strengthening democracy in Africa, we must also strengthen good institutions. And people must collectively strong evil. And the state must reign supreme. And that's the problem. Because it has become a sad reality that how you win an election is determinant on how well your thugs are well harmed. And you can't build a democracy that way. So it's time for us to look inward. We need to introspect. We're not introspecting enough.
All right. This is good news for Lagos State. 40 years after the suspension of the light rail, Lagos Light Rail has finally begun operations. It started yesterday. What exactly do you have to say about it? Will we be seeing you on the train anytime soon?
Yes, yeah. Okay, so two things. My route doesn't go around there.
Okay.
So I'm not sure I'll be on the train soon, but I'll take a feelers. But if any day my route goes around there, I'll try to take it myself and see how it goes. But you see, I'm happy, better late than ever, 40 years after. And we all know the circumstances at which that happened. Lateef Jakande was forward thinking then, set up a rail project, they had paid for part of it, and there was a power change. President Muhammadu Buhari came in, and he stopped the project because of corruption. So these were many undoings of President Muhammadu Buhari. Stop the project, which was a very vital project for Lagos. The project didn't go ahead. So we are 40 years backwards, and we keep looking to the future. I mean, these are things you enjoy in every part of the world. Yes, I mean, train, rail, like snow. These are technologies that people have perfected over the years, but we are just having it in Black Africa, which is a very sad one for us. But hopefully, let's see how this goes. I mean, I'm just concerned about safety. Let's just ensure that there's safety and it's well maintained. Hope it's not going to be 3-4 years down the line. It's going to be like, I don't want to throw any shit to you, Jesse, but hope it's not going to go like the Abuja Metro service.
Exactly.
So let me throw the question back to you. Have you taken the Abuja Metro service while it was functional?
I did take one to Kaduna. I took the one that moves to Kaduna. I did plow that once, and it was actually really cool. It was very comfortable, to be honest. Very, very comfortable. It's just really, really sad about the security process, especially when it comes to Nigeria and securing our investments. We don't do a lot of that. Just yesterday, we saw, in Delta State, some of the issues regarding the oil. The oil, some sites in Delta State were found, some ovens were found, cooking ovens were found with crude oil, and you begin to wonder, how exactly are we going about how do you make investments and not secure those investments? It doesn't make any sense at this point in time.
It's so sad. It doesn't make sense at all, and we have a penchant for not securing our own things. We need to learn to do right. We need to learn to do things appropriately. Yeah. So, pure and simple.
Okay, we're having African presidents that are scared and they're beefing up their own security. Just yesterday, Guinea-Bissau's president beefed up his own security, inaugurated two new officials to protect his own security. In this particular time where we're seeing coup d'etats popping up, everywhere, what exactly would you have to say about that? And then seeing Nigeria as a whole, I saw a tweet by what's his name, Charlie, yes, he said Nigerians are praying and God is answering prayers in other countries, something like that.
No, but that was not I totally disagree with that. I totally disagree with that too. You see, we shouldn't go back to the bad old days of military. It doesn't go well for all of us. And let's stop it fun. Honestly, I keep saying it. Yes, we have challenges with democracy, but military is not the solution. Please, you can't go back to a complete breakdown of law and order. There's a rule by decree. There's pain in the land. There's a lot of all sorts of killings. And now I'm saying that's even better. No. And that's why the politicians must do right. I keep saying that, and you see, it's so difficult for them to understand because of their own selfish interest. Just like I would say this morning, shame on all those state governors that manipulate the local government system for their own favor. Shame on all of them. Those that fail to hold elections, or those that hold elections and manipulate the elections just to favor them. Shame on all of them, because it speaks volumes. This local government is supposed to be an independent system that reaches out to the people. You know why I know? My father served in the local government, was chief supervisor for Agric in 92, 93. So I know what the local government should do for people. And I know how the local government is supposed to improve the lives of people. And I know the impact of what the local government can do for people. But now they keep taking that. When we return to democracy, the first election we had was local government election. And they were national elections. But the state governors hijacked the local government. Yeah, we had the elections in December 98. The first elections were local government elections. And they were conducted by INEC all over the country. Local government had autonomy then they could do, but the next day, before you know, state governors hijacked the local government, and since then, they've not allowed the local government to operate. And now they are siphoning all the money. See what is happening in Ogun State. The man said something. They've not been able to bring out the evidence against the man. Local government chairman. Now they put the DSS involved. And they say it's in DSS custody. Why should we threaten the man? Because he just said that, misappropriation of local government funds and everything. Then you come out and you clear your name. And you swim to the court of law. So these are the problems we have in our country. These are the problems we have. Yes, it's quite sad that sometimes we say we want to grow our country, we want to develop our country, but sometimes you question the fact that are we even ready for the development we crave, that we want, that we need to have to grow our country.
All right. NLC shuns meeting with the federal government and begins their 2-day warning strike. It's supposed to start today, and because of the whole removal of fuel subsidy and the livelihood of Nigerians and all that, shouldn't the NLC just wait? Since we're just seeing new cabinet members, allow them settle in to their office and see what actually they bring out, in terms of palliatives for Nigerians before embarking on a warning strike.
No, I think why the NLC is going on strike is also the bad faith of the minister. How can you call for a peace meeting and you call for another media rally and you're abusing and saying all sorts of nefarious things against the NLC? It's bad faith. It's also bad faith by the government. All these months they've been negotiating, no concrete decision has been made. So it's also a lot of bad faith. Government will say, oh, give 8 weeks, we'll do this, we'll do that. So government is just, it's just a very funny way at which government is being run. So I don't blame the NLC guys if they're saying they want to go on strike. It's just a lot of bad faith. And that's why we say the government should do better. The government should come out and do better for the people. If it doesn't do better, it will be held accountable. Seriously. We can't afford to make this continue this way.
We had this same issue with the previous Minister of Labour, and we had this same issue of strikes here and there, popping their ugly heads, rearing their ugly heads. And this particular government doesn't seem to be different in how they handle labor. What exactly can Nigerians do at this point? Because the power seems to be in their hands.
I think one of the things is to hold government to account. And part of holding government to account, sadly, has been a method of strikes. Because it's largely based on the bad faith of government. Okay, I'll give you another instance. I remember when government took labor to court over a strike. I said, oh, you can't strike. The strike or say you shouldn't strike. And guess what? After even labor shelved that strike, the government still kept that case in court. It took labor to threaten another strike before government listened and they took the case out. So why are we doing this to ourselves? In one breath we say we want to make progress and move forward. In another breath we are taking ourselves 15 years backward. So what do we truly want? What do we truly want to achieve for our country? What is it that we truly want? What do we need for our country? What do we want to do? And these are key questions that we have not been able to answer over the years.
All right. Finally, the president is going to be away when the declaration will be made by the PEPC. And he's saying he's not worried. But just at this point, what exactly should Nigerians expect? What would the process be like? Should the president not be the winner, not be declared the winner of that election? What exactly is the process going to be like? Are we going to have a new president? What exactly would the process look like?
I don't know. It's a court that will determine. So I will get just like you, and I will listen to the judgment being read out, and I will listen to the advisory. They'll be able to make interpretations. That's just all right. But we all know the facts of the case. The facts of the case are there. The APM, Allied People Movement, is taking disqualification of Tinubu on the account of alleged unlawful nomination of Vice President Kashim Shettima. All right, that's what the case of Atiku. They are claiming victory in February 25th election, and that's their own case, So we'll see how the court rules with regards to all of that. So,
all right. Thank you so much, Mr. El-Rufai, for joining us this morning.
Thank you so much, Garcia. Thanks for coming in. Thank you. Bless you.
All right. Thank you. Have yourself a wonderful day.
Bless you. Yeah. Bye.
All right. It's been a long conversation this morning, but thank you so much for joining us right here on Front Page Review on Voice of the People 96.1 FM. My name is Judiciary. I will go ahead and pay some bills, but coming up at the top of the hour is Ibuamaka. Make sure you keep it locked right here. Don't go anywhere. Judiciary Agua is my name. Good morning.